I leaned forward, resting my elbows on my knees. And what's the verdict? The second man chuckled, a smirk teasing his lips. Depends. Think you can keep up with both of us? I smiled, leaning back into the seat, stretching slowly, owning the moment. Their attention was already mine. I locked eyes with the one still standing outside, letting the silence stretch just long enough before tipping my chin up, my voice smooth and sure. Hop in and see. The truck was still rolling when I reached for the door handle and pulled myself into the cab, not bothering to wait for it to stop. The engine rumbled beneath me as I slammed the door shut, sealing us inside. Just the two of us now. No way out. He shot me a glance, brow furrowed, as if questioning what he'd just let in. But he didn't say a word, just grunted, shifted gears, and merged back onto the highway. Perfect. I stretched my legs out, letting my thigh brush against his. He didn't move away. Neither did I. Hope you don't mind company, I murmured, shrugging off my jacket, letting it slide down my arms in a slow, deliberate motion. Of course, he noticed. He saw everything, the thin tank top, the lack of anything beneath. His knuckles flexed on the wheel for just a second, just long enough. Gotcha. Where you headed? He asked, his voice rough. I leaned back, tilting my head, watching him fight to keep his eyes forward. Wherever you're going. His jaw tightened. The truck rumbled over the uneven road, and I let it move me, let it shift me closer, until my shoulder brushed his forearm. You grip that wheel like it owes you money, I teased, my voice softer now, playful. His throat bobbed. Just trying to drive. I let my fingers trace the curve of my collarbone, drifting lower, watching him from the corner of my eye. That's right. My smirk deepened. Because it kinda looks like you're trying real hard not to focus on something else. The truck rocked with the wind, the road stretching dark and empty ahead. He inhaled slowly. Exhaled even slower. Said nothing. But I saw it, the way his grip on the wheel tightened, the way his jaw locked. He could pretend all he wanted. I already had him. And the night had only just begun. The truck cut through the deserted highway, its engine humming steady, but inside the cab, nothing was steady. I could feel the tension in him, the way he gripped that wheel like it was the only thing keeping him grounded, like if he let go for even a second, he'd lose more than just control of the truck. He was holding on. I was about to make sure he let go. I shifted, slow, deliberate, pressing my thigh against his again. This time, I didn't ease away. I stayed right there. His fingers flexed around the wheel, a muscle twitching in his jaw. I let my fingertips skim over his forearm, a barely there touch. You're so tense, I murmured, teasing. I think you need to relax. His throat worked as he swallowed. I'm driving. I smiled. You're gripping that wheel so tight. Looks like you're afraid to let go. I tilted my head, watching him from the corner of my eye. Maybe I can help with that. His breath left him in a sharp exhale. I leaned in, just a little, just enough to feel his warmth, to hear the tiny hitch in his breathing. Then I moved, sliding down into the tight space between the seat and the console, my fingers trailing lightly over his thigh as I settled in, feeling the steady vibration of the truck pulse through me, through him. His body went rigid, one hand suddenly jerking away from the wheel as if caught between stopping me and bracing himself. Eyes on the road, I murmured. His fingers twitched. He inhaled sharply through his nose, chest rising, falling. Then I leaned in, my breath warm against his skin. His whole body jolted. A sharp inhale. His back slammed against the seat like I had knocked the air clean out of his lungs. The truck wavered slightly, just enough for his foot to press a little too heavy on the gas before he corrected himself. His knuckles turned white against the wheel. I smirked, feeling the tension coil tighter, winding between us like a live wire. I took my time, feeding the moment, watching how he reacted. His hand flexed, fingers twitching, like he wanted to reach for me but couldn't, wouldn't. Instead, he exhaled rough and uneven. His jaw clenched so tightly I half expected to hear his teeth crack. His breathing was ragged now, every inhale a fight for control. I smiled, feeling his body tense beneath my fingertips. Outside, the world blurred past in streaks of headlights and darkness. But inside, it was just him and me. Nothing else. His grip on the wheel tightened, knuckles straining, like he was at war with himself. I wanted him to lose. Slowly, I dragged my nails over his thigh, just a whisper of pressure against the fabric. His breath stuttered. "Breathe," I murmured. A low, rough sound rumbled in his chest, almost a growl. His free hand snapped down, gripping his own leg, muscles locking tight. He was right there. Then the CB radio crackled. "You on your way?" His entire body jerked so hard the truck rocked beneath us. I bit my lip, hiding a grin. Bad timing. His fingers flexed before one hand shot to the radio, the other still locked on the wheel like a lifeline. His voice came out rough, tighter than before. "Yeah, be there soon." The parking lot was nearly deserted. A lone truck idled near the edge, its headlights cutting through the dark. Beside it, a man leaned casually against the cab, arms crossed. Waiting. As we pulled in, my gaze drifted over him. Tall, solid frame, presence heavy enough to tell me he wasn't just another passerby. He looked right at me. Smirked. I smirked back. The engine rumbled to a stop. Beside me, the driver exhaled hard, rubbing a hand over his face. Even now, his grip on the wheel hadn't loosened, like it was the only thing holding him together. I stretched, slow and easy, my fingers gliding lazily along my collarbone. His breath hitched, just barely. "Didn't realize we were expecting company," I murmured. The man outside stepped forward, his gaze flicking between us. "Made good time," he said, voice casual, but the way he looked at me wasn't casual at all. Beside me, the driver tensed. I noticed. "Step out for a second." Not a request. A command. The driver hesitated, just for a breath. Then he exhaled sharply, jaw tight, and pushed open the door. I watched as they moved a few steps away, their conversation low, their body language taut. They weren't looking at me, but I knew. I was the topic of discussion. Leaning back against the seat, I stretched my legs out, watching. Waiting. A slow smile curled at my lips. Let them talk. I already knew exactly how this night was going to end. The night air slipped in through the cracked window, cool against my skin. I stayed where I was, lounging in the passenger seat, fingers tracing lazy patterns over my thigh. Outside, the two men stood near the parked truck, voices hushed, movements tense. I didn't need to hear them. I already knew what they were deciding. I already knew their decision. Minutes passed before they started making their way back, their pace slower this time. Something had shifted between them, an unspoken agreement, settled without a word. The first man climbed back into the cab, hands gripping the wheel even though the truck wasn't moving. His pulse still ran fast, his body still wound tight. The second man leaned casually against the open door, one hand braced on the frame. His gaze moved over me. Slow, deliberate. "So," he said, smirking, "that was an interesting conversation." I stretched lazily, my tank top riding up just enough to make his gaze flicker downward. "Was it?" His smirk deepened. "We had some thoughts about you." I tilted my head, fingers tracing my collarbone. "I bet you did." The driver exhaled, hands flexing on the wheel as if he knew he should say something, but didn't. I glanced between them, letting the silence linger, feeling the weight of the moment settle in. The air between us thickened, electric with something unspoken, something inevitable. I leaned forward, resting my elbows on my knees. "And what's the verdict?" The man at the door chuckled, dark and low. "Depends. Think you can handle the both of us?" The challenge in his voice sent a thrill through me. I smirked, settling back into my seat, making myself comfortable. The shift had already happened. They weren't in control anymore. I was. I lifted my gaze, locking eyes with the one still outside. Hop in and find out. The door shut with a solid thud, sealing us inside. Suddenly, the cab felt smaller. The space between us vanished in an instant. The second man didn't hesitate. His hand reached for my face, his touch firm, eyes searching mine for a beat before he closed the distance. His movements were sure, his presence unmistakable. The driver's breath hitched, his grip tightening on the wheel before he finally let go. His hands found their way to my waist, pulling me back against him, his presence grounding me even as the energy between us surged. The air inside was thick, warm, charged. Outside, the world faded away. I let the moment take over, the hum of the truck beneath us steady, constant, like the only anchor in the tension-filled night. Time blurred. When it finally settled, the cab was quiet, the only sound the steady rhythm of our breathing. The second man exhaled deeply, running a hand through his hair before cracking the door open. A gust of cool night air swept in, sharp against the warmth we'd created inside. The driver didn't move right away. He stayed still, hands loose on the wheel, staring ahead like he wasn't quite ready to leave the moment behind. Eventually, he reached for the gearshift, exhaling slow as the engine rumbled back to life. The truck rolled forward like nothing had happened. They say truckers have the best stories, but I'd argue this one tops them all. Tell me, if you were in that driver's seat, would you have pulled over? Or just kept driving? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next story.